Hey guys, it's Twisted Auto Garage here with another video. Today we're going to look at some older footage from when I removed the governor out of this engine. And I promised y'all a direct throttle video, and this is what it is. Now, this is the final result, and this video will be kind of in steps. You'll see a lot of just a little clip here, a little clip here, just to prevent y'all from having to see a bunch of cutting and things like that. But this should be the final result. A direct throttle is we're just going to use the same metal that we got from removing the governor over there, and we're going to set it up so we can just hit full throttle right there. And this is, I will talk about it later on in the video, but this is a aftermarket spring. I applied them because the stock spring just won't do it in my situation on my go-kart, but it may work on y'all, so stay tuned and thank you. Hey guys, one last thing before the video starts. You'll notice that there is two places where I hooked the spring up. In the first part of the video, in the introduction, I had the spring attached from here to the pull start, and it just depends on what setup you want to run. If you want to connect it to that piece there, running that to the pull start, or whatever location you want, just as long as it gets a good, a good snap back, so it can idle. If you have any questions, the video will start you out on this setup being taken off. If you have any questions about how to take that off, leave it in the comments. I will put the link in the description for how to take the governor out of this engine, because in that video I took out this throttle setup, and so just click on that video, and you don't have to watch the whole video, because obviously you don't need to take out the governor if you just need to figure out how to take this off. But yep, so here's the video now. So once the throttle system is taken off, the next step that we need to do is we need to take the 10mm nut off the top. I'll show it to you. Once that nut is off on top, we're just going to take all the little pieces off. And then you'll notice already that there is no spring, and that's just because the stock return spring really won't be reliable for a go-kart. It may work for a little bit, but I just wouldn't trust it. With these three original rods, we're just gonna use this one for our return spring. We can upgrade later if we see that it's not clicking back like it should. But what we need to do here is, you'll notice that there's two cable stops. And so this one will be your throttle cable, and this one's going to be for the metal rod to connect into the carburetor. So when the system is on here, when this rod is connected, you'll see that it will push back, and that therefore will push the carburetor to give it gas. So what we need to do is, for this cable stop, I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Usually it will have a ring on the bottom. So what you're going to need to do is, the ring's right here. You're going to have to remove the ring and flip it upside down. So go ahead and show it to y'all. So it's going to look like that, and we're going to actually connect the rod into this piece right here. So we're going to measure out the rod, and so it should connect right about here. And I'll show that to you in another clip. And after that, this metal piece will need some negotiating right around here, just to give it the full kickback. But I'll let you see it in the future, so stay tuned. So what we'll have to do with the original metal rod is I gave you a little demonstration here, and right here is where it will connect into the carburetor linkage area, and then you'll have to bend a 90 degree to get it into the stop nut. So I've already mounted it onto there, and I'll give you a little demonstration. So there's the carburetor at the beginning of the drawing, and so you'll have to make the metal rod make a 90 degree right there, and then go into the stop nut, and then crank down on the metal to get it on there. And then what that will do is whenever, and I'll show you a little bit later on, is whenever this will move up, it will push this, allowing a more simplified version of a throttle system than the other rods, I know. And then you'll be able to get rid of one of the stop springs. And considering this Predator engine no longer has a governor, those extra springs really just don't do much. So stay tuned, and I'll show you what it looks like whenever there's a 90-degree bend in it. So this is the final result with all the cutting and all what you'll have to do. In the diagram, you'll see the bends and everything. You will have to cut the rod pretty far back to get it to sit in there, and just use the cable stop on the bottom to clamp it down. You will see my my bends there. But anyway, for this piece, for the base of the throttle setup, you will see that there are pieces cut out, and you're gonna have to do the same thing for the setup. It really depends on how good the bends were for yours. Mine are, okay, but some things will come in contact with this as it slides, either the cable stop or the rod. So just keep that in mind. I used a angle grinder, so that's why mine's so botched up right now. But you can use a Dremlin, anything, really, just to get those cuts in. I'm probably gonna run a Dremlin through mine again just to smoothen it up. But that should be all the cutting that you need to do, and then in the next part, then y'all will see that it all set up on there. So stay tuned. Alright, this should be the final result. Now, with this setup, you have now removed this spring, this smaller spring, and then half the bar. I guess you can use these in different setups. Now, I did upgrade to the aftermarket return spring that you can get at any parts store. You can use this one if you want. To make it, if it's ever real jammed, you can always loosen up this stop nut or oil it up. But you can look there, there's the smaller rod in its place on the carburetor, and you can see that it does hit full throttle. Yeah, so all I have to do is run a cable for the throttle for the go-kart. So I hope this video helped. I hope that, I apologize again that I'll apologize in general that this video is in a bunch of little small parts, but there was a lot of itty bitty little cutting and other little tidbits. So I know that I may have repeated myself a couple times in a couple overlapping videos, but I hope that this gave you a general idea, and I hope that this helps you reduce the amount of springs that you have to use for your Predator engine, or you could use this on any engine that you just want to reduce this one has no governor, but you just want to reduce the springs in general and just give you a better idea of how to keep it clean, because now you see there's no long rods running this way. There's just that short little metal rod, and you can put this return spring anywhere. Some people put them on the exhaust. I like to run mine just straight to the pull cord. It's simpler in my eyes, but like I said, I appreciate y'all watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and then if y'all want to see this thing running around, just put it in the comments below and I'll make it happen. So I appreciate it, but catch you later.